Hey, before all of you start saying, Drew, why are you sitting down all the time? I'm tired. I'm filming this so early in the morning, leaving on my trip in a couple weeks, and I'm trying to make videos in advance. This takes a lot of dang work. I make this look easy, though. That's besides the point. Today, we're talking about the weird iPhone cameras on the back because there's really nothing else to talk about with this next generation iPhone. But despite that being the most major change, a lot of people have strong opinions about it. So that's what we're diving into today. Let's begin. So the most common one is anytime a leaker or someone posts a picture of the next generation iPhone that is mostly confirmed. If anyone out there is like, we don't know, maybe Apple's releasing fake leaks to get people discouraged. They would never do that. They don't do that. Google didn't even do that when we thought they were doing it. And with the Pixel 3, I thought you would have had a point with, but no, the notch actually was that bad. So no, I don't believe Apple's doing that. This design is basically finalized. It's in production right now. We know 99% of what it looks like. And the most common thing you'll see when anyone tweets or posts this picture is just like the vomit emoji. Everyone's just like, oh my god, this is so ugly, this is so bad. And before you all claim hypocrite, I was quick to do this too, back when it originally leaked and the camera bump was protruding way more than it is now and it looked way uglier. I didn't like it, but over time I've gotten used to it. I've understood why they arranged the cameras that way in an equal distance from each other, and more leaks have confirmed that it's not actually that bad. The glass doesn't protrude that much from the back. It should match the color of whatever iPhone color you go with. Some people like that, some people don't. That's not really the point I'm trying to get across in today's video. The point I'm trying to get across is humans, as Ritchie brings up on Twitter a lot, are weird. We don't like change, but at the same time, we want change. Simultaneously, we want Apple to make more functional designs instead of just aesthetic designs, but at the same time, if they don't go with the aesthetics we like, we get really upset. Think of like the MacBook butterfly keyboard situation. People are like, we don't care that you want to make the MacBooks thinner. We want better cooling mechanisms and we want more travel on our keyboards. So we don't care how it looks. Just make the MacBook thicker. I don't care. Meanwhile, at the same time, when Apple's making functional choices for the iPhone camera setup with equal distance from each other, which helps in computational, photography, and possibly videography as well, giving the lenses more space between each other to let in more light. As Bloomberg in the past has reported, the next generation iPhone should have a big emphasis on low light performance. Once they make functional decisions, all of us go, ew, that's not what I like. I don't like that. That's not what I'm used to. I want it to be different. I want it to be new, but I don't want you to change anything that we already have. I want it to look exactly the same as before, but also change it. But don't change it because I like it. You see how it's just like this endless loop mess? And I got some attention this morning because I was reading all of these complaints and I was like, you know, everyone keeps saying it's like objectively bad, or people are saying like there's objectively better ways to handle a triple camera setup, but at the end of the day, it is simply an arrangement of camera sensors. Whatever dictates if it's a good design or a bad design really comes down to personal preference. When it comes down to functionality, it's the back of the phone. No one's looking at the back of their phone regularly unless they just want to make sure the glass on the back isn't cracked. Aside from that, though, there's no reason that some weird camera arrangement on the back should be liked more than another, other than just that's what you're used to. And that gave me some flashback memories because I don't know if you guys recall, but back in the day when the iPhone 10 was leaking, back then we called it the iPhone 8, there was a ton of people reacting in this exact same way. More than you'd probably assume. So I scrolled back and found some old videos talking about the iPhone 10 leaked design before it officially came out. This was just a couple years ago, not like a terribly long time ago. And if you read some of the comments, they say things like this. The cameras are honestly hella ugly. The version with a flash between the cameras looks like it wants to die. I got 71 likes. Like 71 people read that and said, yeah, the flash between those cameras does look like it wants to die. Minor DJ said that metal frame will be scratched up within 10 minutes. Funny how that aged, because the stainless steel on our iPhone 10s and 10s's have ended up aging better than the aluminum models quite often. Most of y'all use a case anyway. Galaxy S8 still looks better than this leaked iPhone model images. 325 likes from that one. Don't you get it? Vertical camera is Apple's new innovation. ... So people were just annoyed that there were no changes with the iPhone 8 other than the vertical camera, completely ignoring, you know, all the changes and the fact that it was the biggest upgrade probably ever. There will be no reason to buy the iPhone 8 over the Note 8. 49 likes that comment got. Also, you want to bet how many more people bought the iPhone 10 than the Note 8? Spoiler alert, more people bought the 10. Nice screen, but terrible design, especially the camera. 298 likes. I want you guys to know that I'm not just cherry picking comments that were at the bottom of videos that support my claim. These were like on the top of videos. These were getting the most likes back when this iPhone design was first coming out, simply because because it didn't look like this. This is what we were used to iPhone cameras looking like. And I could keep scrolling and keep pulling comments from the past, but I'll remind you guys, back when the iPhone 7 Plus was first leaked with its dual camera bump on the back, a lot of people were annoyed because ever since the iPhone 6 shipped with its camera bump on the back, people were like, well, hopefully on the next generation they can get rid of the camera bump. And then on the 6S they didn't. And so people were like, well, hopefully on the iPhone 7 they can get rid of the camera bump. And then we got the 7 and the 7 Plus. People were like, they made the bump bigger. Oh my God, this is so ugly. Now the flash is stretching out so far. What an ugly camera bump design. But then we all got used to it, and on the 8 everyone was fine with it. But before the 10 officially came out, people kept seeing that vertical camera and saying things like, not sure how I feel about that camera design. The camera bump though, ew. 34 likes were like, yes, ew. Disgusting that the camera used to go this way and now it goes this way. That ruins everything. Note 8 is going to kill the iPhone 8. Quite the contrary, dear. That's literally his name, dear. Hirasawa, who is still a regular viewer of my content 2 years ago, commented, the positioning of those dual cameras just don't look right to me. 36 likes on that one. Changing the camera is the stupidest thing ever. Why would they change that? I could go on, but I think you guys get the point. People don't like change of any kind. And while at first you see the back of the new iPhone camera and you go, what? Why would they change that? What I applaud Apple for doing is not caring about particularly what people think of the design of the back of the phone, because Apple cares more about setting trends than they do following them. They're going to set the trend of utilizing all three cameras in the best possible way by positioning them in the most functional possible way, whereas other smartphone companies are not doing that. They're just kind of lining them up on the back, vertically, horizontally, wherever. Put them wherever you want. But Apple, who's going to be the continued king of videography, as they have been for years and probably will be for years to come, and in my opinion, king of photography as well, with incredible real-time rendering that the competition had taken years to catch up with, and also depth options that we don't really see the competition compete with. The portrait mode and HDR support we got with the 2018 iPhones was truly much better than a lot of people were expecting. Everyone was like, the 10S camera will get a little bit better. If you look at the dynamic range of cameras on the iPhone 10 versus the 10S, it was a big step up. It was a huge improvement, and that was when they weren't really changing the cameras that very much physically. Now that they're changing the cameras physically this much on the outside of the iPhone, I think it's going to be an even more substantial upgrade than last year was. And I think the main reason we're hearing a lot of people's frustration with the back camera bump right now are these dummy units. In the past, I have purchased dummy units, and they're made of plastic. They're very fragile. To be frank with you, they're kind of expensive at the same time. But when I was offered this year around to buy the iPhone dummy units, I was seeing the pictures of them, and I straight up passed, you guys. I was like, I don't need to buy those because they are so inaccurate. Past couple of years, they were pretty accurate with, okay, this is what a 5.8-inch iPhone feels like. Okay, this is what a 6.1-inch iPhone feels like before we had form factors, so that's why I bought those dummy units in the past. But this year, makes no sense. The camera bump is protruding more than it does in the leaked images, and it's all blacked out, which we know it's not going to be, and the form factors are the same. So to me, I've been seeing these dummy models, and I'm thinking, that doesn't even look close to the actual models. So no, it makes no sense for me to spend all this money on pieces of plastic that aren't even accurate. If they were accurate, maybe I'd consider it, but they're not. So that's why you don't see me talking about the dummy units, and I think that's why you're seeing so many people get frustrated at these camera bumps now, mostly because Marquez just did his video with the dummy unit model. But give it a couple years, everyone's gonna get used to it, everyone's gonna get comfortable with it, and I guarantee you, 2 years from the day I upload this video, you'll probably see plenty of other Android manufacturers using the same camera arrangement on the back, because they know if they can get it to look like an iPhone, they'll probably get better sales. Mark your calendars, people. Come back in 2 years. I want to see what phones are already imitating that camera design. And like we've said in the past, the average consumer does not give a crap about the camera arrangement on the back. That's like a piece of trivia. It's like, oh, okay, that looks a little different. You're using the phone from the display point of view. The back makes no difference. If you think it looks gross, you're just not used to it yet, and over time you probably will get used to it. And when the iPhone camera on the back turns into a giant spider eye, you're going to be craving this camera design. Why can't they just go back to the triple camera setup? I liked that, as that's how iPhone upgrades have always gone, and they'll probably continue to go. If the smartphone with the best rear-facing camera design was the best-selling smartphone, then the Essential phone would have done much better than it did. That was great. There was no camera bump. It was so seamless on the back. It was a dual camera, but it didn't protrude or anything. But performance-wise, it was not the best in class. And that's ultimately what matters. The smartphone camera that can perform the best, not the one that just aesthetically pleases your personal preference the most, which is mostly based on previous smartphone tradition. As soon as as that tradition's broken, you get upset, but then once it becomes the standard, you get comfortable with it again. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of all of my theories on the upcoming iPhone camera design by hitting me up over on Twitter or joining our Discord. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you guys in the next one.